Talking about something very, very important when we take you to Abuja. Also in Lagos, we will be talking about insurance as well. In Abuja, we'll be talking about the snake bites and the precautions that have been put in place to make sure that this does not happen again. When we come back to Lagos, the very beautiful Olamide will take us through everything that has been trending in the world of social media and more. So please grab that cup of coffee and let's have a very fantastic show. Now we'll start with the story where the Department of State Services has arraigned former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and his son, Abdulaziz, on a 5-count charge of abetting terrorism financing and illegal possession of firearms. Now, they both pleaded not guilty to the charges when they appeared before Justice Abdul Malik. Senior reporter Celestina Ira has more on this.
This is the second time the former AGF and his son will be arraigned at the Federal High Court, Abuja. First, they were arraigned by the EFCC on a 16-count charge of money laundering to the tune of 9 billion naira. They were granted bail by the court. Now the DSS is arraigning Mr. Malami and his son for warehousing firearms in their residence as Jess Phase 2 area, Birin Kebbi Local Government Area, Kebbi State, without lawful authority. Mr. Malami in count 1 is accused of refusing to prosecute suspected terrorism financiers whose case file were handed to him while he served as the AGF and Minister of Justice. At the commencement of proceedings, the prosecution had moved for the charges to be read to the defendants. They both pleaded not guilty. The prosecuting counsel prayed the court for a date for commencement of the trial and that the defendants be remanded in the custody of the DSS pending further proceedings. Counsel to the defendants, on the other hand, informed the court that his client has been in the custody of the DSS for over 2 weeks and was brought to the court directly from the hospital. He craved the indulgence of the court to move an oral application for their release. Justice Joyce Abdul Malik in the short ruling held that the court is a court of record and as such the defendants should file a formal application before the court and serve the same on the prosecuting counsel. She therefore remanded the defendants in the custody of the DSS and adjourned until 20th February for hearing. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, so that's going to be our conversation this morning. Etoma, you heard the amount, 9 billion, 9 billion, naira. And he has multiple, cases because he's dealing with the EFCC, he's dealing with the DSS as well. We're talking about terrorism financing, which is a big deal. This is not a small allegation for a country that has been suffering insecurity. Now finding out the person that was supposed to, supersede justice, allegations actually, that was supposed to supersede justice, they're now saying that probably he was financing terrorism. His son right now is in the middle of everything. But, it's quite a sad one when we speak about a former Attorney General because we understand the position that he held. He was put on a very high pedigree. This was a person that was speaking, for justice. For me, I worry for the outcome of this particular case. And this is a case that the whole world is watching. It's not just about Nigeria anymore because, I've had people in Ghana call me that, did this man really do this? And I'm like, you know what, until the court says anything, we keep our fingers crossed. But it's quite a very sad one.
Yes, it is very sad, and taking into consideration the position Malami held just in the last administration here, not just the position, the influence he had. He was a, how do I put it? He was a first-class minister. He had a lot of power. And unfortunately, 9 billion is hanging on his neck, and then there's this terrorism financing thing also. When the DSS went to his house, they saw quite a number of firearms and bullets, and you wonder, what's that doing in his house? So that on its own tells a story. But how will this case end? That will leave to God. I really don't know how it will end. Is the thing that is so sad is, or the lesson that we should take from it is that no matter the position you hold today, hold it knowing that you are holding it for God and for yourself. All right? Because when you abuse power, it has a way of coming back and biting you.
Yeah, and for me, when we speak about how it will end, Olamide, a lot of Nigerians are hoping to see how it will end. But for me, I will say I want it to end in justice. I want justice to be served. And another thing is that the way we handle this case will determine how, other cases will be handled. Will determine public trust. Because a lot of Nigerians are looking, they need the court, to give the order to say, because right now it's all allegations, nothing has been put that, okay, he finally did it. And that's why we're waiting on the court to finally, put an end to this by telling us, is he guilty, is he not guilty? Now we have his son also being involved in this mess. So we can see that it's a whole, family thing.
Absolutely, Ria, you're very right. This is a landmark case, and it will be a litmus test in order to gauge or gauge the independence and the effectiveness of the Nigerian judiciary, to show that we are impartial in trying people, no matter their pedigree, no matter their class, no matter their ranking. They didn't just find ammunition, they found 12 cartridges, 16 live cartridges, 27 extended cartridges, Storm Magnum 1701 firearms. These are hard-hitting ammunition. Terrorism financing is one thing to be corrupt and to steal money for your personal coffers. It's another thing to now to use state money allegedly to finance terrorism. It's very worrying. What I'm noting here is a paradox. Like you said, Ria, this is a man who stood at the helm of the judiciary, the Attorney General of the Federation. To be brought to this level and tried at the lowest of levels for these sort of crimes is very worrying. Now, what does this paradox tell us about Nigerian society? Another particularly worrying case is the fact that his son is involved. The legacy you passed on to your son is being displayed in the Nigerian courtroom.
It's a sad one. And Ibrahim, oftentimes when we're talking on this table, we say some of these terrorists, they hold ammunition that they cannot afford. So people are now linking it. So we've always been saying, who is the person financing these people? Who is this person? Who is the person giving these people some kind of ammunition? Because those people do not even have the money to buy it. So then we're thinking, all allegations, please. Now we're thinking, like, could it be people that are supposed to protect the nation that are now causing harm in the nation?
So I think we need to set the record straight. It is not actually being tried for financing terrorism. It's for abetting terrorism financing. Because if you remember, I think about 100 names, were submitted, of terrorism financiers. Some of them involved in bureau de change and all of that were submitted by the UAE to the Nigerian government under the Buhari administration at the time. And the federal government or the government refused to try these people, this set of people. And at the time we were shouting, let's name them. After naming them, let's shame them. So the name and shame thing, I remember that word being bandied around all social media, all media, conventional media and all of that.
But what happened then? Because I don't think I was in Nigeria then. So what happened at that point?
Yeah, so that is why he's also facing a trial. So the fact that he refused as the Attorney General of the Federation, as he said, he wielded a whole lot of power. The power to ensure that the federal government prosecutes a case or the federal government discontinues the case. But the fact that they didn't do anything about that, so it's like when they say these are the people who were financing terrorism, and UAE prosecuted those ones that they were able to nab, but we didn't do anything in Nigeria. So it's more like you are betting it. So they say this person is a criminal, and they're able to say, okay, you have to take them to the court, court, but you didn't do anything about that. So it's a serious problem.
Your inaction is an action.
Inaction is an action. So it's more like you're complicit in that process. And it's so sad that you have a father, you have a son, and you also have a wife indicted in some of these corruption allegations. He also has his own defense. He said, okay, he has a business. He's also bought some property before he got into government, or before he was able to before he took up political appointments and all of that. And then people were asking the question, from about 2 billion naira or 2.something billion naira, you made a profit of over 200 and something. So that's like 1,300%.
Such an with all of that, I think he now has to show us the evidence of all of that.
He was an Attorney General of the Federation. He understands it, so it's presumed that he understands the law. So I believe that whoever is going to lead this prosecution should also understand that they are dealing with someone who understands the law. So they have to do right.
At the end of the day, Nigerians just want justice at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
We will take a breather now, and when we